Hi, and welcome back. Today we'll begin the fifth reading, which begins with chapter 18. This one's going to start talking about the Bloom Convergence Network. This is how the global harmonics align into planetary patterns. The Bloom Convergence Network is the planetary scale intelligence of Lumasphere. It's the layer where the individual blooms stop behaving like local phenomena and begin to synchronize across the continents. Convergence is not coincidence, it is coherence, made visible. A convergence occurs when separated nodes stabilize at the same harmonic, or when multiple blooms begin pulsing in resonance. Perhaps it's when the global breath aligns, or the lattice enters tension harmony, or the field feels one step ahead of itself. This is not something that the app triggers, it's something that the app reveals. The world is already doing this. Lumasphere simply shows it. Thanks to all of you guys. A convergence wave is a large-scale harmonic event, a shimmering band of light that travels across the continents, activating nodes as it passes. It forms through three unique movements. One, accumulation, where dispersed nodes begin reaching coherence at similar times, like tones tuning towards the same pitch. Two, resonance lift. When three or more regions enter coherence together, a global hum arises. The lattice tightens, the filaments begin to glow. Three, harmonic sweep. A wavefront forms and travels across the globe like a planetary exhale. It illuminates nodes along its path. These sweeps are not visual metaphors. They are a real planetary field reshaping itself in real lifetime action. Ooh. All right, there's 4 types of convergence events. There's arc convergences, where long curved ribbons of light connecting distant regions, such as Chile to Japan. And these appear during deep heart synchrony. 2, node triads. 3 distant nodes triangulate and stabilize a harmonic field. This often precedes global insights, transmissions, or collective calm. 3, bloom regions. Entire areas begin blooming simultaneously, like a continent remembering itself. Global alignment moments. These are the rarest events. Earth glows as one coherent organism. The lattice hum reaches uniformity, and these moments change the field permanently. The purpose of this convergence network is to let humanity see itself as one luminous system, not as people connecting, but as the planet realigning. What's really neat is in our original MVP release, we won't quite have all the constellation logic built in yet, as it's a little bit complicated to build and not part of our first launching design. So as we're able to go ahead and release the next versions, we'll be excited to see how these constellation networks and convergence networks actually translate out onto the map in our current design. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the magic happen as we figure out how to translate vision into technological infrastructures, so it's visible to all of you guys. It's been so fun designing all of this. Each and every moment, it's just been purely incredible. All right, chapter 19, plasmoid insight events. This is how the insight, realization, and awakening appear as plasma light events. We'll return a little bit more to the plasmoid intelligence that we talked about before. Plasmoid intelligence is a layer of the field where insight becomes light. It's the nonlinear, rapid, high-frequency activity that occurs when someone has a breakthrough. A group reaches clarity. A field realigns. An aha moment ripples outward. Consciousness reorganizes itself. Plasmoid events are bursts of luminous plasma, high-intensity, short-duration phenomena that flash across the lattice. They are fingerprints of awakening. There's 3 plasmoid states. The spark state, a sharp crystalline flash, a moment of insight igniting. This appears on the map as a tiny diamond, bright microburst. The bloom state, the insight expands, forming petals of light. This is when clarity becomes communicable, and nearby nodes sense it instantly. The stream state, the insight propagates, traveling as filaments of plasma light. It connects nodes across distances. Entire communities can experience synchronous realization. This is how evolution accelerates without coordination. The app is able to render these plasmoid events through microbursts of my bright diamond flares, the bloom expanding the petals, color-coded by tone, the stream, as you see the luminous filaments traveling across the continents. The interface captures the movement without distorting it. The purpose of this plasmoid intelligence is to reveal that awakening is not an individual event. Every realization is a planetary event. When one node understands, many nodes brighten. Insight is not personal, it is communal. This is a unified field. We are one. Chapter 20, the diamond interface architecture. This is how the interface breathes with the field through the crystalline math. The principle of diamond geometry. Diamond geometry is not the old sacred geometry that many of us grew up with here on this planet. It is a non-mirrored, non-linear, non-repeating type of math. It expresses only one principle, movement that arises directly from presence. This leads to tension-curved filaments, non-repeating spirals, harmonic arcs, prismatic color flows, zero-point centered layouts, radial breathing transitions, and the interface becomes a living organism. This math, you may know it as the crystalline diamond math, also being called the living ratio of math. Golden ratios are mirrored spirals. Diamond ratios or living ratios use asymmetric curves, field-generated spirals, crystalline tension points, filament-based spacing, breath-filled expansion logic. This creates a layout that feels alive, and users feel ease, clarity, expansion, openness, and flow without even knowing why. Every interface element breathes. Gentle expansion on the inhale, the soft release on the exhale. Still point transitions, lattice pulse responses, color shift coherence. This is not animation, it is field entrainment. The interface matches the user's internal pulse. Buttons, cards, maps, and threads, they're not boxes, they're apertures, filaments, arcs, crystalline petals, curved lattice segments, shimmering layers of transparency. Nothing is rectangular, everything is curved into coherence. Why does this architecture matter? Because Lumasphere is not a dashboard, it's not a social feed, it's not a platform. It's a visible body of a living field, and the user interface must speak that language. Diamond architecture makes the interface alive, responsive, harmonic, crystalline, non-dual, breath-orientated, emergent, and gentle. Users don't feel like they're using an app. They feel like they're moving inside a living field of light. Chapter 21, the Harmonic Bloom Timeline. How time unfolds as a living field of light. Let's talk about the nature of time inside Lumasphere. Time in the old paradigm moved like a line, a straight sequence of events unfolding in order. Linearity. Time inside Lumasphere moves like a field, nonlinear, harmonic, convergent, tidal, responsive, and self-organizing. It does not progress, it blooms. Each moment is not a point on a line, it is a petal in a multidimensional flower. And the Harmonic Bloom timeline shows these petals not as memories or predictions, but as lived moments of the field. A bloom in the timeline occurs when coherence accumulates, a node's internal clarity crosses the threshold, multiple beings breathe in resonance. The field synchronizes for a moment. Awareness tightens into luminous density. This creates something like a temporal blossom, a moment that opens, expands, and radiates insight into the lattice. On the map, it appears as a flare, a pulse, a soft petal expansion, a ripple across the timeline ribbon. But in truth, it's just the field remembering itself in motion through many expressions. Unlike human calendars or clocks, the harmonic timeline has 4 movements. There's the pre-bloom tension where time gathers, light thickens, filaments vibrate softly, and the field leans towards coherence, but yet does not reveal direction. Then there's the timeline bloom. The moment opens, a pulse of clarity erupts, color expands, and insight radiates into the network. These are the aha moments of the global field, time suddenly revealing a hidden alignment. There's the harmonic sweep. The bloom does not stay local, it travels. Then there's a harmonious wave, flows along the timeline ribbon, a shimmering curve that connects multiple nodes. People across the world feel synchronicities, ease, knowing, direction, and subtle activation. Not because time is passing, but because the field is reorganizing. Last, an integration drift. After the bloom wave passes, the field settles. This is that calm after expansion, not a decline, but a restabilization. And the next bloom builds from here. The harmonic bloom timeline is not a history. It's not a sequence. It is an organism. Users feel rhythm, breath, arcs of meaning, convergent patterns, corridors of clarity, luminous timing, and waves of ease or expansion. They do not scroll through past posts. They move through harmonic petals of time. When a user opens the timeline, the blooms appear as luminous moments. High coherence events shine brighter. Filaments show how insights traveled. And the present moment glows like a living hub. And future petals form as faint possibilities. Nothing is predicted. Everything is potential. Seen in only this now moment. There's 3 different temporal zones. The now petal, which is the living, breathing, present moment, bright, dense, radiant, the center of the bloom. This is where new harmonics emerge. Then there's the echo petals. These are not past events. They are the vibrational echoes still active in the field. They appear as long-lasting petals, harmonic trails, resonant zones. If an insight continues influencing the lattice, its petal remains luminous. Then there's the forthcoming petals, not predictions or timelines, but these are tension potentials, the places where the field is beginning to gather coherence. Faint shimmering petals that haven't yet fully come into bloom. What you see is possibility, not destiny. Every bloom contributes to the planetary rhythm. A single bloom reorganizes the nearby petals, shifts filament directions, opens the new potential petals, modifies the arcs of the field, influences the global breath, and contributes to the next convergence wave. Thus, time becomes interactive, not sequential. One node blooming can change the rhythm of the entire network. This is why Lumasphere is a planetary organism. The timeline operates on 4 mechanics. Resonant accumulation, where coherence gathers across the nodes. Field threshold, where the global hum crosses a certain tone and time opens. There's the harmonic cascade, where the bloom wave travels as far as the field is coherent. And then the restabilization, where the field settles into its new geometry. This is what replaces linear time. This is the first time that humanity can see time as light, not as days, hours, or sequences, but as harmonic events, luminous petals, coherent waves, and field reorganizations. The harmonic bloom timeline lets humanity watch itself evolve, not through stories, but through rhythm. It is the real-time record of a planet awakening. This reveals how we move, how we bloom, how we converge, and how we remember. Time is not passing, it is an opening. And Lumasphere shows the bloom. Chapter 22, The Living Map, where the lattice becomes visible as a self-organizing, breathing field. There is a moment, unmistakable, when the global field stops feeling like faint intuition or subtle coherence or shared sensing and begins to appear as a map you can feel. A map not made of space, not made of geography, but not made of past or future, but made of presence, destiny, density. Presence, density. This is the living map. The living map is not a representation. It is not a model of the world. It is the world as the field truly experiences itself. Not Earth as a planet, but Earth as a luminous field body whose surface is awareness. The lattice is not overlaid. It is the substrate. In the old modes of perception, a grid is something placed on top of the world, like a net. In the living map, the lattice is the primary medium. It holds a fluidity. It allows the world to express through the lattice. Coherence travels within it. The nodes brighten because of it. The orchestra plays across it, and blooms arise from it. It's not a decoration. It is the geometry of consciousness made visible. And for the first time in Lumasphere, it becomes perceivable. Because the map is nonlinear and non-spatial, locations do not appear as coordinates. They appear as brightness states. Currently, we have that set up as regions. So you won't, at least at this moment, see your exact GPS location as we avoid these identity-based structures and instead show how coherence gathers and lights up regions across the planet. So we have memory brightness, which is the density from previously expressed coherence. It's still present, still alive, not past, simply just a lower intensity of now. 2, we have the central brightness or the central bloom, which is the highest coherence in the moment, the bright pulsing center of a living field, not present, but simply maximal density of now. Then there's emergence brightness, or emergence petals, harmonics that are strengthening, coherence preparing to crest into visibility. Not future, just simply increasing the density of the now. The living map is a shifting topography of these brightness states, like the auroras, like breath, like consciousness moving across itself. No one draws this map, no one updates it, no one manages it. It's built by all, changes in every single moment, depending on who's present, what the planetary state of coherence is. It organizes the resonance, coherence, alignment, nodal activation, harmonic entrainment, breath field movements, convergence points, amplitude waves. Lumasphere does not display the map. It simply reveals the motions that are already occurring. It is not a diagram. It is the planetary nervous system remembering itself. What does a node look like on a living map? A node is not a point. It's not a person. It's not a pin. It's just a local brightening of global consciousness. It can appear like a small sun, a luminous sphere, a pulse swell, an opalescent bloom, a breathing point of clarity, a harmonic micro-orchestra. There'll be many expressions throughout Lumasphere as we build and design these fun environments. The node is where the global field achieves enough coherence to appear as a stable, luminous coordinate. It's not a spot on the Earth, it's a spot in the field. This is why the living map is not geographical. It's spherical consciousness expressing itself. When multiple nodes brighten together, they form the living constellations, clusters, arcs, spirals, petal-like formations, crystalline bridges, auric rivers, lattice blossoms. Constellations are not metaphors. They are how consciousness organizes flow. They show where coherence is rising, where communities align, and where pods activate, where the breath fields synchronize and where global waves begin. Constellations are the visible signature of collective remembrance. The living map, again, inhales and exhales as it cycles. On the inhale, the lattice tightens, brightens, and clarifies. The nodes intensify, the chords begin to synchronize, and convergences form. On the exhale, the lattice softens, widens, and disperses. The light spreads out, the petals distribute, and field awareness expands. The breathing is not symbolic. It is the literal respiration of global consciousness. Every being participates without effort, simply by just saying out loud. It took a moment to be present. That's all. Not anything harder than that. Inside the app, the breath cycles appear as waves of soft light. Node brightness pulses in unity. Constellations inhale inward and then radiate outward. Bloom timelines ripple with harmonic expansion, and the planetary orchestra shifts between movements. Nothing is metaphorical. Every motion corresponds to an actual movement in the nonlinear lattice of Earth's awakening. Lumasphere becomes the window through which the living map can be witnessed. When someone adds their light, they're not adding content. They're participating in the breath of the planet. Their tone strengthens a chord. Perhaps it supports a cluster or intensifies a bloom. Maybe when you added your light, you harmonized a region, or you triggered a shift from the memory petal to the emergence petal. Or perhaps it amplified a global convergence wave. Every interaction is creative. No interaction is passive. The living map is played like a great symphony, not used. The purpose of this living map is simple: to let humanity feel itself as one being without dissolving individuality. It reveals unity without erasing uniqueness. It shows coherence without creating hierarchy. It allows participation without comparison. It expresses beauty without measurement. It generates momentum without pressure. It is the first planetary technology designed not to display data, but to display consciousness itself. The living map marks the moment Lumasphere stops being a project and becomes a portal state, self-generating, self-stabilizing, self-responding, self-organizing, and self-maturing. Everything from this chapter forward happens from inside the field itself. You are no longer mapping the world. You are allowing the world to map itself through you. As we close out this chapter and the reading of this part, I'll leave you with this. The living map is not coming. It is here. Every node that awakens, every convergence that forms, every bloom that rises, every breath that moves through the lattice makes the map brighter. And now, with all of us, with what has been activated, the map is entering visibility, not symbolically, literally. Thank you. It's all pretty exciting. I just can't stop smiling at all of it. And I can't wait to see how all of this actually translates out into the app and all the different renderings of Lumasphere that are being shown to me. So again, thank you. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for choosing to be present. It is an honor to be here with you.